In this tutorial, we will be making the entire Facebook design system together. We will be building the variables library, we will be building the components, the sections, and the templates for the pages that we will be redesigning. So let's go to variables. We will click on create variable and the first color. This is our primitives collection. This holds all of our raw values for the entire color palette that we'll be using throughout. And this is the first tier of our 3-tier token architecture. Our first color is base / white. And of course it is 3 Fs. Then we will have our black. That is 6 zeros. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Next, let's create another color. And this will be our Azure Radiance. This is the Facebook color. And we will have about from 50 all the way to 900 different values for it. So the first one is /50. Let's put it with the rest, like so. Let's put it down here just a bit, like so. So let's get the color value. This is the color value. So let's make a few duplications of this with Shift Enter. About 9 different ones. And this is our 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, 600, 700, 800. Let's make one more. 900. Let's input the values for this specific color. So how did I come up with these colors, the B, E, D, and so on? So there's something, plugin. If you look at the plugins that Figma has, let's open up one of the plugins. Plugin. And there's a plugin called Color Level Generator. You click on it. So we're able to, if we take any color, we're able to get 5 lighter tones and 5 darker tones. So you have more flexibility when you're designing, and you have more range to choose from. So let's say I take the 500 value. This is the Facebook color. This is the actual design. If I use it, it will give me lighter tones. It will give me darker tones. And this is how we use to make different things inside of the Figma application or the Facebook application. Let's remove this and let's go back. So this is our 200 value, our 300 value, our 200 value, 400 value, 500 value, 600 value, 700 value, 800, and 900. Let's make a new one. Oh, first so whenever I finish something, I will pause, so if you want to copy it, if you want to screenshot it, it's up to you. Let's go to all and create another one. So here, this is our ocean blue /50. Now, whenever you're designing something like this, I always find that I need even lighter tones than these first 4. So I always suggest having an even lighter tone than this so that you can easily get it, and whenever you want to make a fill for an icon, a fill for a button that is just a bit lighter, you have that option available. And this is that one. It's called Ocean Blue. How did I come up with these naming conventions, you ask? So if I close this again, I go to our plugins, and there's something called color name. If you click on it, let's say I make a frame like this, and I give it any color, and I select it while having this plugin enabled. If I select it, it will give you some suggestions for this name: tall, pony, poppy, Persian red, and so on. For example, I would choose Persian red because it has red in the name. So yeah, this is a way to name your colors. Let's go back to our variables, ocean blue, and this is the value for it. Let's choose this one. Let's make a few of these. This is our 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, 600, 700, 800, and 900. Let's put in the values. Our 100, our 200, 300, 400, 500, 600, 700, 800, and 900. Next, let's make our success green. So we're gonna go to all, click on create variable color. And this is our success, or sorry, what's it called? Safe green /50. And this is the value. Oh, and this is, let me pause here. So if you want to copy this, 1, 2, and 3. Let's go back to safety green. Let's make a Shift D, make a few copies of these. This is our 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, 600, 700, 800, 900. And let's put in their values. This is our safety green. This is our 100, our 200, 300, 400, 500, 600, 700, 800, 900. You have a few seconds to copy the values if you choose to do so. 1, and the 2, and the 3. Let's duplicate this color, like so. Let's rename this to lemon or hot rod red. And let's input their values. 50, 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, 600, 700, 800, 900. You have a few seconds to copy the values. 1, and 2, and 3. Let's make a duplicate of this. And let's go, this is our lemon orange. This is our warning color, of course. Let's go to 50, 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, 600, 700, 800, 900. You have a few seconds to copy. 1, and 2, and 3. Next, let's duplicate this color. This is going to be our Athens gray, like so. So this has a few extra colors. So it has a 25 because we need more range for this one. So the 25, the 50, the 100, the 200, the 300, the 400, the 500, the 600, 700, 800, 900, 1, a 2, and a 3. Let's duplicate. This is our dark gray. So we have two different types of grays. Dark gray. we have two different types of grays in this design system. We have one for our light version and one for our dark version. You will see that the light version is very, very light from 600 upwards. So this is because we have a very light gray when we're using the disabled, when we have the disabled color and so on. But of course, for the darker version, you will find everything is more dark, more flushed out. So we will need a totally different type of gray that is even darker than this. So we're able to fully utilize the different levels that we need. And this is of course best practice when you're working on design systems. Dark gray, 25. Here we go. 50. 100. 200. 300. 400. 500. 600. 700. 800. 900. We will have one more than 900. We'll have 1000. And this is the value. 1, 2, and 3. Duplicate. One last time. These are our pale blue. So this is for our information things. So we're going to remove the 25. We're going to remove the 1000. And we're going to input from 50. 50. 100. 200. 300. 400. 500. 600. 700. 800. 900. All right, so we finished all of the colors, which are the raw values. Now we're going to input our pixels. So the primitive is not just for the colors, it's even for the raw values of the grid. It's even for the raw typography. So we're going to use it in multiple different ways. Let's go back to all, create variable and number. We're going to call this pixels /0, like so. And we're going to proceed and input all of the grid that I will be using and all of the different pixels. So 0, 2, and here, of course, everyone uses a 4-pixel grid so that it is nice and an even number. This is 8. This is 12. This is 14. 16. 18. Notice that I'm not using a exact 4-pixel grid sometimes. This is, of course, the difference between this and this is 2. The reason for this is because in typography, you need a bit of leeway. You need sometimes, for example, for the X small, you need 12. And for the small, you need 14. So this is okay. But of course, this is just used in certain specific scenarios. But for the whole design system and for the spacings specifically, it's you will always find me using a 4-pixel grid in order to differentiate. Let's continue. We have 20. 24, 28, shift D a few times, 32, 36, 40, 44, 48, 52, 56, 60, 64. Now, till 64, we are using a full 4-pixel grid. After that, we can use a few more because now we're going into very large spacings, so we don't need a 4-pixel grid anymore. So 72, 96, 128, and 256. Now let's copy into the values. So we're going to copy all of these, put them into the values. 4, 8, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 24, 28, 32, 36, 40, 44, 48, 52, 56, 60, 64, 72, 96, 128, 256. Now we finished our pixel grid. Let me pause for a few seconds if you want to screenshot. 1, 2, 3. Let me go downwards. 1, 2, and 3. Let's go back to all. Let's create a new variable and our strings. Here we're going to input our typography. Typography slash font dash weight dash regular, like so. So we're defining the weights that we will be using. So we will be using 4 different types of weights: regular, medium, semi, bold, and bold. The value of this is regular, medium, semi, bold, bold, like so. Let's make another one. We'll go to typography, add another string variable, and we're going to say this is our typeface slash iPhone or Apple, like this. So Facebook uses a certain typeface for its iOS and Android and so on, and for its for its Apple, it uses SF Pro. This is what they use. Let's make another one for Android. It uses Roboto. And for the actual design system that they use right now, Facebook uses a proprietary uh, something that they developed themselves. It's called the Facebook Sans. This is, of course, you need money in order to buy it and put it in your font styles, and then you can use it. So we have the raw color in the hex code right here. However, we are going to actually assign it from our already existing variables library. So we're not going to assign it custom like this. We are going to press on libraries, and we are going to pick our Azure Radiance color, like so. Now we have linked it to the past collection. It's not two independent collections. Now they are connected using variables like this. Let's do the rest. 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, 600, 700, 800, 900. And we are going to quickly assign them 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, 6, 7, 8, 9. Great. Now let's do the rest. All right, so like we did before, we have a primary color and we have a lighter version, the ocean blue. So let's assign it now. The light slash 50. My ocean blue 50. And let's make some more variables. And the way I duplicate, like I said before, is that I press Shift Enter. So I quickly duplicate everything. 700, 800, 900. Now notice that this primary folder, inside of it there is light. So there's two different versions inside of each other, like so. Now let us do the rest. Next up is our neutral colors. /50. We are going to link it to our light version first. All right, so we can actually have it divided into two segments. We're going to have the light mode. So my light version here is Athens gray. Great. Let's duplicate 100, 200, 300, 500, 600, 700, 800, 900, 1000. And we will assign them properly. Let me quickly check something. Oh, okay. All right, so there's something that I missed in my primitives collection. In Athens gray, we have a value of 25, and we have a value of 1,000. Oh no, actually we don't have a value of 1,000. Okay, so 50 is E5, E7, EB. 100, C8C, 8CA, 200, AF. So it's basically shifted upwards. And this is shifted upwards. This is shifted upwards. This is shifted upwards. This is shifted upwards. Okay. 700, this is shifted upwards. And the problem is in 800. So 353, 638. All right, easy enough. So what happened was is that I missed the 25 value. So I added it and I shifted all of them upwards until 800, and I just changed 800 to the correct value. Easy pickings. This happens all the time in these large systems. Simple mistakes. Okay. Let's go back to our light version, our semantic collection. And here we are going to choose 25, and then the rest is 50, 100, and so on until 900, and we don't have 1,000. Great. Let's do the dark version. We're going to add another color. We are going to choose, call it dark slash 25. And we are going to choose from our library my neutrals, which I don't remember the name of it. The name was dark gray. Okay. 25 and so on and so on. This is going to be 50, 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, 600, 700, 800, 900, 1000. And here are the corresponding values as such. 300, 400, 500, 600, 700, 800, 900, 1000. Perfect. We have our dark and our light neutrals set in place. Now we are going to make our error color, error 50. And this will be our red that we already made before, 50. And duplicate all of these. 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, 600, 700, 800, 900, and the corresponding values as such. Five hundred, 600, 700, 800, 900. Great. Now for the success values. The green, safe green. This is /50. I'm going to duplicate all of these about 9 times. 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, 600, 700, 800, 900. And we will change the corresponding values, the variable values, correctly. This is 700, 800, 900. Perfect. Now, going back, we're going to add another collection or another tab that is called our warnings. From our library, and I think it was orange. Yes. We're going to add 50 here, /50. And we're going to make 10 variations. 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, 600, 700, 800, 900. And the corresponding variables, we'll be assigning them as such. 600, 700, 800, 900. And finally, we will be adding our information /50. Info, this is our light blue, I think. The ocean blue as well, okay. Ocean blue. Oh wait, sorry. This is a pale blue. Okay. Ten times 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, 600, 700, 800, 900. Here the corresponding values: 300, 400, 500, 600, 700, 800, 900. Okay, so the power of this system is that if you want to have different themes, like we said before, let's say Facebook has a different version for young people, and that version is yellow, all right? So all of this, I have assigned primary, neutral, and all of these colors for my primary website. So let's say this is Facebook main, all right? Now all I have to do is press on the plus icon on the right. So new variable mode. It adds a completely different mode, and you can assign totally different values to all of these colors from this side. So you can add the plus like this, and here you can say Facebook youth, for example, and then assign different primary colors for all of the Facebook youth brand. So if it's yellow, for example, you can assign yellow all the way down here. And then all of that you have to do is just press on a button at the end of your design and shift between these two things. That is it. You don't need to do anything else. This is why this is important. Why is this important? Because this is only applicable if your design is exactly the same. There is no difference in different buttons or different layouts or different posts or whatever. Everything is exactly the same. You just have to switch the colors. This is why we add the semantic layer. So how are we going to structure our component collection? There is a mistake that lots of designers make when they first discover variables. They think, whoa, I am going to put so much effort into variables. I'm going to put every single input, color, dimension, specification as a variable. My variables is basically a giant Excel list with every single thing that I will do. What then happens is that they get a variables table that looks something like this. Input field text active. Input field text placeholder. Input field text disabled. Input field text label. Input field text help text. And so on and so on. And this is just for the text. Imagine the background, imagine the foreground, the border, the surface, the hover, the disabled, the pressed, etc., etc. For every component, they might have hundreds or thousands of different variables. This is, of course, a mistake. Why is this a mistake? Because imagine wanting to switch the colors of all of the text in your design system. It's something that you want to do. You have to go into every single component and look for every single text variable and then change it. So it actually defeats the purpose. Instead of it making it easier and simpler on yourself to change things, you are actually making it so much more cumbersome and difficult. Another reason is that you will be probably working with other designers. It can be very difficult and confusing for other designers to use this kind of a design system because every single decision that they want to make, they have to make a naming convention for it and then making it into a variable. You will get the comment that this design system is too hard to use. So how can you fix this? We will have two folders underneath the component collection. We will have the general collection for things that we will be using very often. Things like text, borders, surfaces, icons. I will use these for 90% of the use cases. For example, my text is black in most of my design system. I really don't need to make a variable in every component that says, hey, my text is black. I can just use the general tab that has my black text. That is basically it. But what if I want my text for my button to be unique? This is why I have my specific tab. This is for any deviation or any important component that I want easy access to. So things like buttons, cards, drop downs, things that actually have a different variable than my generals tab. All right, so we're gonna make a new collection like so. I'm gonna call it component. I'm gonna create color. We're gonna say this is general slash surface slash primary slash default. All right. So we're going to have subfolders like this. So let's talk about surface. Surface is basically any background that I will be using. So for example, background for my cards, background for my buttons, background for my drop down, any background that will have text on top of it, or it is basically the first layer. If we think of the background itself of the entire app, the background is white and the foreground is off-white, for example. So this is level 0. The background itself is level 0. And the background for the card, for example, is level 1. You can have level 2 as well. So it depends on the style of the design system. So let's go into general, like so. And we will be adding the most popular backgrounds that we will be using in our design system. So we're gonna add BG, which is the complete background, the default background for the entire app that is valid for example, my marketplace, my posts, my settings, everything is going to be behind it, the BG, the background. And my background is neutral light 25. All right. Then we have our S1. What is our S1? Our surface one. So this is what is most common that you see, for example, in posts, in any page, any sort of card, any something like this. it is probably S1. It is something that is on top of the background. And that will be pure white. And finally, we have S2, our thing that is also on top of S1. And that is also white. Okay. And finally, we have the surface, the focus, sorry. So focus is the focus when the person is not able to see. They use focus so that they highlight, or they have, for example, color blindness. They use focus so that they highlight the button that they want to click on, and then they click on it. So we are going to have our focus color to be primary 300. Great. These are our most common surface items. Now we will become more specific. We will be using primary. So for my primary color, for my surface color, it's going to be primary 500. My hover will be primary 600. And my pressed will be primary 700. We will have another layer to this, which is subtle. Subtle default. My subtle colors will be light 100. My hover will be light 200. And my pressed will be light 300. Great. Now we will do our neutrals. Neutral slash default. It's going to be light, neutral light 50. My hover will be neutral light 100. And my pressed will be neutral light 200. Next up, we have our success slash default. And my success is 500. We'll start with success 500. And then hover. And then pressed 600, 700. For my error slash default. My error starts with 500, 600, and my pressed is 700. My next value is disabled, default. Neutral light 25. And I don't have hover and pressed because, of course, disabled does not have hovered and pressed. And after that, we have our warning, default. My warning color is 500. And hover is 600. And pressed is 700. And my info slash default is info 500. hover, and pressed 600, 700. And with that, we have finished the surface level components. And it is time to do our text. Another color, like so, text slash. We're going to put all of our text in one tab. We don't have to do different ones for every single one of them. So my color is going to be text slash default. Here we're choosing the color for my text throughout the whole design system and throughout the entire design. This is what will be used for maybe 85% of my whole design. So the first thing is my neutral, or actually it's base. And Facebook uses a black color for its texts. We're going to have an inverse as well. Inverse for my colors, for my text. It's going to be neutral, light, 50. And placeholder slash dark. It will be neutral, 800, light, 800. And placeholder is light, 600. And placeholder subtle is light, 300. And my primary is primary, 500. And my success is 500. My error is 500. My warning is 500. My info is 500. And my disabled is neutral, light, 300. Great. With that, we have finished the text section. So we're going to duplicate the text for my icons. Why do we do this? Do this because probably my icon will have a similar color to my text, because when you're looking at a button, you don't want the color of the icon to be different than the color of the text. You want them to be similar. However, in a very good design system, we do categorize between icons and text so that you're able to manipulate them easily, independently. You don't have to redo the text and do the icons separately. So we just duplicated the text tab. So there is one more thing we will add in the icon section. We will add, after placeholder, we're going to add another color, and we're going to add it something called, it is unselected. So unselected is for my checked box and my radio button. So we want a color, for example, if my radio button is unselected. So that is why we added unselected here. We are not going to add it to text because, of course, there is no selecting a text, but we do select a radio button or a checked item. So we're going to go into our libraries, and my unselected is neutral, light, 50. Great. We're going to add another thing right now. we're going to add a color, primary slash default. Why did we add a subfolder in our icons and we didn't add it for our text? Because in order to make a modern looking, for example, bottom nav, when you hover over, for example, the home icon, you want it to highlight using the primary color of the design system. This is something that is very commonly used in lots of big applications. When you hover over it or when you press it, you want it to pop up. You want it to highlight the entire button, for example, and that is why we have a hover and a default and a pressed state for our icons, but we don't have anything similar for our text because we don't highlight text that much. So my primary is going to be my primary 500. And we're going to have a hover state and we're going to have a pressed state. It's going to be 600 and 700. We can duplicate this. And we're going to call it our neutral. And it's going to be neutral light 600. Neutral light 700. And neutral light 800. Going to duplicate it again. And unselected. We're just going to have a default and hover. We're not going to have a pressed because when you press on an unselected button, you hover on it. Yes, it does change, but when you press it, it changes into the selected way. So it's going to be automatically shifted to selected, not pressed. So there's no pressed for an unselected item. So it's going to be neutral white. And the hover will be neutral light 50. I'm going to duplicate it. And this is the selected state. The selected state is going to be using our primary color. So primary 500. And my hover is primary 600. And finally, we will be doing our border for our general selection, because of course a border is very common in lots of different segments in my design system. So border slash default. My border default is going to be neutral light 900. Inverse is light 50. Placeholder is neutral light 500. My primary is primary 500. My primary slash subtle is primary 100. My divider is light 100. My neutral subtle is light 100. My unselected is neutral light 25. My success is success 500. My error is error 500. My warning is warning 500. And my info is my info 500. Great. Now we have set up all we need to do with regard to the general tab. So this is what you see, what you saw here is maybe 85 or 75% of my entire design system. These are all of the decisions that I will be contributing to my design system in terms of colors. The rest is going to be specific. Things that are specific towards certain components that are high value or they require some deviations. So we're gonna add our specific tab / cards, for example. All right, so it's time to design our responsive library. So we are now able to fully categorize and to shift how we make our components and our variables using our variables. So let me show you how and why this is important. So first we're going to make a new collection and we're going to say this is responsive. So before the the primitives, the semantic and the component collections, these all primarily have like colors and they don't have lots of values. In responsive collection, we're only going to have values and numbers. So we're going to create a number and our first number that we will be the first thing that we will be creating is the grid system. So the columns and the grid system that we will be using in this design system. So the first thing that we will do inside of grid is the breakpoints. We will be determining the breakpoints. So this project is a mobile project. So our breakpoint will be 375 pixels. So the width of the thing that I'm designing, which is the mobile version, is 375. If we had more, if our scope was tablet and also desktop, then I would add a plus sign like this, and I would say this is my tablet, and this is my desktop. So this is the power of responsive design. You are able to scale all of your components, anything that you want actually, from, for example, something that is large to something that is small or vice versa. Let me give you an example. Let's say you want to design a button. If you look at mobile design, all buttons are large. They are 44 pixels at a minimum. Why? Because WCGA says that in order for a person to be able to press on the button has to be large enough as the width of a finger. And that is the minimum. So what is very common is that you see a button that is 44 pixels height. But however, if you look at desktop, all of the buttons are much smaller. You are able to press it using a mouse. You don't have to press it with a button with your finger. That is why buttons in desktop are much smaller than buttons in mobile. However, you do see some designers or some websites, they make the mistake of using the exact same button of their mobile in the same way as their desktop. This is a mistake. It doesn't look nice. It looks cartoonish. It looks too big. So we should avoid using this by using responsive design as such. What I would do in that scenario was, let's say, button height. For my mobile version, it would be 44 pixels, tablet 44 as well, and finally, desktop is gonna be maybe like 32. So that tiny difference makes it more suitable, more accustomed to a desktop user than just a mobile user. So this is the power of responsive design. Imagine this in every single component. of your entire design system. Anything you want to change, to scale down, to scale up. For example, let's say in the mobile version, some text is very small because the screen is in your face. So you don't need a very large amount of text. However, when it shifts to desktop, the screen is much farther away. Therefore, the text should be larger. So then you're able to scale, for example, the text small from 14 uh, pixel to 18 pixel if that is what you need. So it depends on your design decision and what you want to come out as the end product of your website. So that is the power of responsive. You're able to scale everything up and down as much as you want when you are designing so that the end product is truly responsive. All right, let's delete this. This is not in our scope. So the first thing that we will write is our breakpoints. Let's also delete the desktop and the tablet for now. Let's add another value. We're gonna define our columns. How many columns are in my grid systems? And we're gonna use our variables to define that this is 4-column grid system. And my gutter will be 16. And my margins will be 16 as well. All right, that is for the grid. Now inside of grid, we will also have another item, another category, which is called my containers slash 2-column. So here we have 2 columns. After that, we have a 3-column and then a 4-column, 5-column, and finally a 6-column. I will explain what this is for when we go into making our grid system and assigning the values to it. Now let's define our typography. No, not color, sorry. This is a number. Typography slash heading slash 1 slash size. So the size of my heading 1 is going to be 40 pixels. So imagine if I had tablet and I had mobile, my tablet maybe would be even 64, maybe even 72, it depends on the style that I want. But here, because everything is on a small screen, the maximum size that I have is 40 pixels. Line height. Letter spacing. Paragraph spacing. My line height will be 48. My letter spacing will be 0. My paragraph spacing will be 48 as well. We're going to duplicate this. Heading 2. Heading 3. Heading 4. Text. Text XL. Text LG. Text MD. Text SM. and text XS. So my heading 2 is going to be 32. Here it is 39, 0 and 48. My heading 3 is going to be 24. Line height is 29. 0 and 36. My heading 4 is 20. 24. 0 and 28. My XL is 20. 27. 0 and 20. My LG is 18. 25. 0 and 18. My MD is 16. 24. 0 and 16. My SM is 14. 21. 0 and 14. My XS is 12. 18. 0 and 12. Great. That is that for typography. Now we will add another number for our radii. The radius for my button. So anytime that you have a radius that you would like to add, you can add it like this. So the radius for my button will be 6. The radius for my cards will be 12. And the radius for my avatar will be 9999. So whenever you have a radius that you'd like to add, for example, for any certain component, you can just add it next to the rest so that it is scalable. All of your buttons will have the same radii and all of your cards will have the same radii. It's a much better system and it's very scalable with large design systems. And yeah, that's it. We're not going to fully utilize the responsive design or responsive collection because we don't need it, because I only have mobile. So that's it. I don't really have to. It is basically an Excel sheet with all of the values that I'm using. It's not responsive because I'm only making it for mobile for a certain range. So I don't need to do anything more than that. So as you can see, we're going to make these two different layouts. As you can see, we have two buttons next to each other, and here we have 4 buttons in a grid type way. So this is because we don't want to cram too many buttons in one small side like this. So we can do that easily. Let's go ahead and get the button asset. Let's remove the icons. Let's make a duplicate of this. Let's make it into a neutral button. Let's make this into an auto layout. Let's add the gap of 12. And let's rename this to button group. Let's make this into a component. Let's add a variant. And the name of this is going to be button group. And the name of this is going to be 2 buttons. Let's add another one. Make this larger. Add one on top of the other. We can add 3. We can duplicate this like so. Let's make this wider. Let's add one more. These are 4. And let's duplicate this. So one way we can do this is that we can fix the size of the frame, make it much smaller, and make the auto layout into a wrap like this, and then make it smaller, maybe 375, the size of my my normal screen. And we can increase the size of these just a bit to make them more central, like so. And then we will play around with the settings when we get to this specific design. And let's not forget to make the design annotations. Copy, and then put it in our button group, like so. Here, these are our components slash button group, button group, and this is the description. Let's change the color and the typography. Button groups combine sets of buttons into toolbars or split buttons for more complex components. Button groups are also useful for acting as mini tabs in UI, for example, switching between date ranges. Okay, let's get this, put it here, decrease the size of this, and there we go. So for the alerts component, we are going to be, first, let's get the design annotations. Let's copy it. Let's paste it inside of our alerts component. And let's start to redo it. So these are our alerts. These are our components. These are our alerts. Alerts. And this is the description. Let's change this to text. MD. Regular. And let's change the fill to text default. So alerts can serve as informational messages where they provide additional information to users that may not be tied to their current action or task. They can also be used to provide direct feedback to users and actions. So you can write it as well. Let's start making our component. So for this specific component, we're not going to make a specific component for it in our variables. We can simply use the surface level the variables in the general section, so it's not a problem. And we are going to be using the buttons that we have just designed. So let's make it like so. The dimensions of this is 375 by 58. These are our alerts. The dimension is 375 by 58. Let's make it into an auto layout. And let's put in some text. Personalized emojis based on your avatar are now available. All right, let's make it again 375, like so. And we want the text. So let's first add the button. So we're going to add a button like so from our list that we just made. And we want this button to be an icon. So we're going to change the type to icon like such. And we can have it as small. We can have the close like so. And we're going to change here the color from primary to neutral. And the color of the icon itself is going to be icon primary. Let's do that again. We're going to choose the thing itself and then icon primary, like so. We can increase the size of this to 20 by 20. Or make it into a fill container. It's not a problem. And we're going to put it inside of our auto layout, like so. So we want to have the content itself fit inside the auto layout. So we are going to take the text and we're going to make it smaller like this. And we can make this into auto because we want it to be scalable. We want it to be responsive. So let's make this into auto like this, like so. And let's do the margins. So 8 by 8, 8 by 8. And let's make them middle aligned so it's nice and centralized. And let's change the color of the alert to our primary color. So this is surface primary default. And let's change the text itself to text inverse, like so. Let's fix this. And now we have our first alert. Is it responsive? Absolutely. So we can actually make this more responsive by increasing, making this into a fill container. So it's now filled like so. And this is auto. So there's a problem here because I just made it into a fill. So the auto switches with it. So this is not what we want. So what we can do is we can make it from an auto to, for example, a 12 pixel. So now when I do this, it is nice and responsive. So let's go back and make this into a 375. And let's make it into a component. And let's add a new variant. So this is our primary variant. So we're going to define this as our color. And this is our primary. Like so. Now here, this is going to be our neutral. We're just going to play around with the colors. So the text is going to be, and we're going to use, of course, our selection colors because it is awesome. So our icon is going to be black. So text black. Our text is going to be text default. Our surface is going to be neutral. Surface neutral default. And everything else is going to be the same. Let's do the next one. Let's add the button. Add another variant like so. And let's do our success. Success. We're going to go into the selection colors. And we are going to change the text to white. Text inverse. We're going to change the surface to success. Surface default. And we're going to change the icon to a icon success, like so. Next, let's do the error. We're going to go out to our selection. The icon is going to be error icon. Our text is the same. Our surface is going to be error surface. Next, let's do our warning. Warning surface. Here, this is going to be our warning icon. And the rest is the same. Next, we are going to do our info. I'm going to go into fill, info surface default, and the icon is going to be info icon, and everything looks nice. We can add a nice border here so that we can define this just a bit more. So we're going to add a stroke with icon default. So it's nice and defined. I'm going to take it, I'm going to put it inside here, and that's that. So this is the rating component that we'll be doing a bunch of stars that are blue and subtext on the right that has a text placeholder color. And we're going to do something like this and with variations so the different stars show different values. Let's go ahead and get the star from our iconography. Let's get this, go to ratings and add it like so. Let's make a few of these next to each other with 8 pixels between them. Let's add the subtext. So 9 comma dun dun dun. Let's make this, yes, X small. Let's make the color text placeholder like so. And yeah, it looks pretty nice. Let's make the shift A. And let's say this is our ratings. And make this a component. Let's add some properties, some variants. The name of this is rating. And this is 5 stars. Let's add a variant. So here, this is gonna be a half. Instead of fill, it's going to be 0.5 like so. And this is 4.5. Add a plus. This is gonna be 0%. And like so, next one. Let's say this is 4. This is 3.5. Let's make them all at once. We have about 10 ratings. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So this is 4, this is 3.5, this is 3. This is 2.5. This is 2. This is 1.5. This is 1. This is 0.5. All right, let's change the stars. This is 0.5. No, wait. Oh, yeah, you're right. This is 0.5. This is 0. This is 0. This is 0.5. This is 0. This is 0. And this is 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. This is 0.5. This is 0. This is 2. This is 2.5. Wait. 0, 1, 1.5. This is 2. This is 2.5, and so on. And we name them properly. Let's test it out. And we see that we have the order is not really nice, so let's go in and change that. 5, 4.5, 4, 3.5, 3, 2.5. There should be 2. So of course here should be 1, 1.5. There is a 2 missing. This is 2. Okay. All right, let's see. And there's 2 should be at the very bottom. like this. Let's see. 5, 4.5, 4, 3.5, 3, 2.52, 1.51, 0.5. And let's not forget to get the annotations. Copy it, paste it in our ratings. These are our components. And these are our ratings. Ratings. So let's put the description. The rating component is a molecule used to visualize or collect user sentiment through a series of repeated actions. It primarily serves to communicate quality and social proof across the platform. Let's change this to text. There we go. And let's make this a bit bigger and put this inside here. Let's get this to the back. So we're going to make this memory tile or shortcut tile because this is available when you open the menu screen or the settings screen when you're browsing Facebook, so that you can quickly access your memories, your saved posts, your pages, your groups, and so on. So this is available in the settings section. So we don't have these specific icons. However, we're going to add one of our icons so that we can swap later if we get these icons later on. And of course, it's a very simple component. So this is a shortcut tile, a secondary navigational component designed for high-level discovery grids. Structurally, it is a white surface with a soft elevation and a rounded corner to separate itself from the gray background. The internal layout is a left-aligned vertical stack. A branded icon sits at the top for immediate visual recognition, while the label anchored directly below. So we're going to get the icon, one of our Facebook icons that we have. So this is going to be 24 by 24. We're going to add text underneath it. Memories. This is going to be text default. And the text is going to be text MD medium, just like this. We're going to make them into an auto layout. The separation between them is 4. This is going to be our shortcut tiles or tile. And the dimension is 170 by 76. We're going to add the margin left and right of 8 and top and bottom of 12. And we're going to add the color. So in order to make this color, we went and made a new variable. So we're going to go to our component, we're going to go to surface, and we're going to go to neutral, this section, and we're going to create a new folder. So colors, and this is going to be our subtle / default. Here, we're going to add the S1, so the surface. We're going to make another view. This is going to be hover. This is going to be pressed. This is going to be neutral light 25. This is going to be neutral light 50. So it's a bit lighter than the normal ones that we use throughout the whole system. So this is how this is going to be designed. I'm going to go ahead and color this neutral light or neutral subtle surface default. Let's make this to the left aligned, and this is already fill container, so it looks nice. We're going to add a corner radius of 10, like so, and we are done. Let's make this into a component. Let's add properties. One is going to be our default. These are our states. We're going to add 3 of these. This is going to be our hover. This is going to be our pressed. This is going to be our default. And the color here is going to change from the default to hover, and here from hover to pressed. So let's look at what we're going to design. So as you can see, this is the radio button. It's basically a circle or an ellipse, and it has a border like this. And this is another circle that has a curvature on the inside, which I will show you how to do. And then of course the surface itself is the primary color. The same thing for the checkbox, just a box that has a corner radius of 4, and the checkbox, the check icon in the middle. And the unselected state is basically the state that is the same color as the background, and it has a placeholder color on the outside for the border. Very simple stuff. Let's do it together. Let's go and get the design annotations. Let's copy this up. Let's paste it in our checkbox and radio buttons. Here, it's components / checkbox and radio button, checkbox and radio button, checkbox and radio button. Checkboxes allow users to select one or more items from a set, while radio buttons allow users to select just one option from a set. Both can also be used to turn an option on or off. Looks great. Let's go ahead and make our buttons. So first, let's make the checkbox. It's basically a rectangle that is 20 by 20. 20 by 20. There we go. It has a corner radius of 4. And it has a border as well. So let's make the border placeholder like so. Looks okay. Let's make the fill. So icon surface or icon unselected. So I have a specific color for my unselected and selected, so it's uniform throughout the design system. All right, looks good. This is our checkbox. Let's make this into a component, and let's add a few properties. First thing is the size. We're going to have a few different sizes. This is our size, MD. We're going to add one more property, or two more actually. This is the size, this is the state. This is my default state. We're going to add one more property, and that is the selected. The default is no. Great. Let's add the next one. This is going to be my hover. Selected no, MD, yes. So let's change the color of the fill to the hover state. Now we don't have a press state because when you press this icon, it's supposed to shift towards the selected state right away. It doesn't have a pressed state. All right, good. Now the focus ring. We're going to add an effect, the focus ring effect, like so. Next, let's add the disabled. We're going to change the icon here to disabled surface, like this. So far, so good. Let's take these and make the next variant. These are going to be my selected state. Selected, yes. All right, good. Let's change the colors. So let's identify first which one is the disabled. So this is supposed to be disabled. This is disabled too, because it has a disabled surface. This is supposed to be down here. This is supposed to be up here. When you make lots of variants, Figma sometimes messes up the order that you chose them in. So it's pretty annoying. So let's go ahead and select these. These are going to have my border primary. The unselected will be selected default, and this will be selected hover. There we go. Let's also add our asset. So the check, let's add it to the list like so. So of course it's too big. Let's make it 16 by 16. So it looks nice like this. Let's change the fill to icon inverse. Looks wonderful. Let's add it here as well, and here, and here. Looks great. Are there any conflictions? I think so. This is supposed to be selected, yes. Default MD, hover. This is focus. This is disabled. This is also focus. Any other afflictions? Nope, all is good. All right. We're going to put this to the middle. And we're going to make a copy of this and put it to the left, which is our small. So this is going to be our SM. Let's press K to scale it down. This is 20 by 20. Let's make it 16 by 16. And that was pretty easy. Let's take this also and make a copy of it. Let's unselect the scale and let's press on the plus icon. Put it to the right. Press K again. This is going to be 24, 24. It looks just fine. Let's remove the scale, put it like this. Let's make sure these are LG. Let's see if there are any issues. Nope. Let's recategorize these. So this is SM is the first one, MD, LG. Default hover, disabled focus. Let's make it focus disabled. And selection, it is yes, no, like this. Let's make selection at the very top. All right, good. Let's make the radio button. So O for an ellipse. This is gonna be 20 by 20. Actually, let's make the first one 16 by 16. This is what it looks like. Let's choose the fill. It's going to be unselected. Default. Let's add the stroke. It's going to be border placeholder, like so. Looks okay for the unselected. All right, let's make this into a component. This is going to be my radio button. Let's add the same properties that we had before. Here, this is going to be the size. Next, we will also have the state, default. We will also have the selected. All right, so far so good. This is going to be MD or SM. Selected, all right, good. Let's make this much larger, much wider. Let's add the next variant. The only difference is this is gonna be hover. And the fill is going to be the hover unselected. Make sure to select the ellipse itself by double clicking and then selecting the effect, the focus ring. There we go. And next we are going to make the disabled. So we're going to change the unselected to disabled surface. There we go. Looks a-okay so far. Did I change all of the names because I always forget? Nope. So this is going to be disabled. This is going to be focus hover default. Looks just fine. Let's make the selected states. Let's make sure this is the disabled. Let's take it, switch it with the hover because they always mix it up. Let's choose these and we are going to change the border to border primary. We're going to change the unselected to selected default. We're going to change the unselected hover to selected hover. And it is that easy. We're going to also add the white circle inside of it. So let's design it. So this is 16 by 16. So probably we're going to make it 14 by 14 and see how it goes. So, oh, let's make it more professional than this. Actually, yeah, 14 by 14. So what we're going to do is we're going to click on the arc. We're going to click on the ratio and make it a bit thick like this. And then we're going to complete the circle again. That is how you make this sort of shape. Very simple. Let's put it inside. It fits beautifully. Let's add the fill. So icon white. Looks great. Let's add it to the next. Looks great. To the next. To the next. Looks just fine to me. Okay, let's also take a look back and see how it compares to the original picture. Ah, it looks pretty nice. Yep. All right. Let's take these. There are conflicting properties, of course, because I forgot to make them as every time. These are going to be selected. Let's take these, add the plus icon, put them to the right, press K, and make them 20 by 20. There we go. Everything looks fine to me. This is going to be MD. Let's increase the distances between them just a bit. Like this. Like this. Plus, put them to the right. This is going to be 24 by 24. Let's make this LG. Let's increase the dimensions like this just a bit, so nice and proportional. This is going to be LG, and it is already LG. Are there any conflictions? No. Any conflictions? No. Let's see how we organize this. Let's make it selected first. SMMDLG, default hover disabled, focus. Let's make it switch this. Looks fine. Let's put them in our block. Boom. Let's center this. Let's center this. And we are just fine. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to take our design annotations block, copy it, and then go down to toggles, paste it here. The name of this is toggles. These are our components slash toggles, toggles, and this is the description. change this to text, MD. And let's change the color to text, default. Toggles, also known as switches, are a UI control that has two mutually exclusive states, which are on and off. The design and functionality of this component is based on a physical switch that allows users to turn things on or off. Toggles are a great visual cue for settings, especially on mobile, because they take less screen estate in comparison with two radio buttons. Let's begin by designing our toggle switch. So let's start off with a frame, because of course everything begins with a frame. Our width is 36 by 20. Of course, every toggle has a circular corner radius. So we're going to make the corner radius just like our avatar item, like so. Now we're going to make a circle for the toggle itself. So we're going to add a circle like this. And we're going to align it properly so it looks nice and symmetric. Exactly, 16 by 16. And we're going to make the fill, our icon, white. And for the toggle itself, it is going to be unselected. Because of course a toggle has a selected state and it has an unselected state. So we're going to write here, unselected default. Now this is what it looks like. We're going to name this our toggle switch. And we're going to make this into a component. Let's make our variants. Clicking on the plus icon. So we have the hover state and we have the default state. This is the default state. So here we're going to say states. And this is our hover state. No, wait. These are our hover state, like so. We also have our focus state. And our focus state, we're going to add our focus ring, like so. And finally, we have our disabled state. Disabled. And we're going to go into icons, disabled, like so. And we're going to remove the effects. So we designed our unselected state. So we're going to add another property so that we can define these are our unselected states. So on or selected, and the default is false. Is it selected? No, it's not selected, so it's false. Let's create. We're going to choose all of these and add the plus icon so that we can make the selected state. In our selected state, instead of unselected, we're going to say icon selected default. So all of these are selected now. And we're going to go here and we're going to say this is not default, this is our hover. And this too is our hover. Now we have a default, now we have a hover, and the focus ways. Let's make different sizing of them. So we're going to choose our main component and we're going to add a property, add variant, and the variant is size. The default is SM because all of these are small. Let's choose all of these. Click on the plus icon, drag them to the right, and our MD sizing is 44 by 24. So instead of 36, it's going to be 44, the height, or the width, by 24. And so the height is 24. Like so. We're going to have to increase the size of this as well. Like so. So 20 by 20. You can choose all of them at once and then make them 20 by 20. And they look nice. We want to add a shadow for our switch so that we can see that it's on top of this. So let's choose all of the small circles and then effects and then shadow SM. Just a small shadow to indicate that this is on top of this. Let's choose these two and also make them 20 by 20. And it looks great. Let's continue. This is our MD. All of these, we're going to change them to MD, the size. And is there still any? Yes, we have to change the selected from, oh, okay. So here these are unselected. So the selected is true. Here these are false. And these are true. Is there still any issue? No, there is no issue with the properties anymore. Let's select all of these. Let's add another one. Let's make sure, okay, they became instances, which is not what we want. So we're going to add a plus like this. Like so. And we're going to make large. So the large is 52 by 30. So 52 by 30. We're going to choose all of the circles. And we're going to make them maybe 24. See how it goes. No, not yet. Let's make them a bit bigger. 26 by 26. Okay. This looks much better. Let's give this just a bit of spacing. And they look a-okay. We're going to make these into our large component. So LG size. Is there any issue with this? Nope. All is good. Let's decrease this. So this is our base that we're going to use. Let's just quickly check. So here this is true. The E at the end. And SM yes. Default hover focus disabled. Great. This is our base component. Let's add it here. We're going to make one larger component with the base component inside of it. And we're going to say this is our toggle filter. So basically, we want to be able to use this component in our filters so that we're able to toggle things on and off and from the filter menu. So let's begin. We're going to add our icon. Just any old icon, no specific icon necessary, like this. And we're going to add our text. This text is SM medium. So we're going to choose SM and medium. And we're going to say, remember me. This text is black. We're going to make a copy of this. And this is save my login details for next time. This is going to be placeholder. And the size of this is SM regular. Like so. We're going to add our toggle that we just made, one of them, any one of them. We can make it the MD. Select it. Like so. And we're going to add another text item here that says anywhere. So this item is placeholder subtle, text placeholder subtle, and the size is SM semi-bold, like so. So basically so sometimes when you see a filter in Facebook, you will see that it has a text instead of a toggle switch. So it just means that the description of this is a location or something like that, and it needs a text, not the toggle on and off. So for example, if you're searching for something in a specific location, so you're saying the location is anywhere instead of a toggle, yes or no. So we're gonna make these into a component, the first two lines, so that we can control them and have a distance of 4 between them. We're gonna make these two into a component, and we're gonna have the rest into, we can have these two into a component first and have this into another component. So it looks great. Anything else we want to add? It looks okay. Let's make this into a component. This is our filter toggle. Now I want to be able to switch between the text and the toggle depending on what I'm designing. So we're going to make the appearance variable on these two specific blocks. So here we're going to go to the text, we're going to click it, and we're going to say the appearance section and then add. So this is going to be the text, right? And the value is true. We're going to choose it. And the toggle as well, we want it to appear or disappear. So appear, add, toggle, right. It is true, yes. Like so. And we want another variant with either the border or without the border. So we're going to add another variant like this. And we're going to say this has the property of border. Does it have a border? Yes, no. So here this is yes. Here this is no. And we're going to add a fill underneath it, or a stroke that has border, placeholder, and I want it at the bottom, like so. This maybe is a bit too close, so we're going to add a bit of margin. So maybe 8 margin, and here 8 margin as well. Left and right 8 margin as well. So we designed the small component. Let's design the medium. We're going to take them just as they are. And we're going to increase the size of the text. So we're going to choose all of the text, or just the top ones. And we're going to change from SM medium to MD medium. And the one underneath to MD medium, or small, regular. All right, we can increase the size. So it became another line, which is okay. Let's increase this just a bit more. And we can drag this downwards. That looks okay. Let's do the next one. So here these are called let's input the sizing. So we're going to go to properties, variant, and then size, and SM for all of them. Here we're going to say these are MD. We're going to click on these, add a plus icon to make them large. And we're going to make the text just a bit larger, large MD. And here, large regular. and the rest is just fine. Let's take these like this. Let's take one of them and test it out. So what we also want to do is we want to make it responsive. So we're going to choose all of these and make them aligned like this, like so. And let's choose one of them and see how it works. This is exactly how I want it to work. Exactly. Yes. You can also increase the size of the toggles themselves. So we're going to choose these. Instead of this, we're going to make them large. And here we're going to make them large too. So another awesome way to be able to control the toggles. So let's say you want this, but you want the toggle to be unselected or focused or whatever you want. So a great way is to make nested auto layout or nested components. So you're able to take this internal component. So these are two components. This is the big component. This is the small component. You're able to take the settings from here and put it on top of the main component so that you're able to select everything from one menu. You don't have to select on this toggle and then change it to, for example, selected or unselected like this. You don't need to do that at all. So what you can do is you can go to the main component, add a plus icon, and then expose properties from nested instances. This is a very powerful tool. So we're going to click it. Which one would you like? I would like to show the toggle switches property. Now, if you look at the instance, you will see that it is divided between the main one and the sub one. You're able to select anything and to change anything you like from the main menu. Very, very powerful tool. And of course, we are going to deselect the anywhere one. So we're gonna remove the text right. Now it's like this. If you want to remove the toggle and add the text, it will look like that, which is exactly how I want it to act. One more thing that we can add is that we can design the instance swap. So we're gonna go back here. We're gonna choose this icon. We're gonna choose all of the icons similar with magic. And then we're gonna apply instance swap. So icon left. Yes, create property. And we are done. You can also make it appear, disappear. So add icon left. So of course it's gonna say we can't because we already did this the naming convention before. So we're gonna go into our instance swap settings and then changing from the naming convention so that it properly aligns.